Real YouTubers play Pokemon Unite. This is how good I think the characters are. Um. I know it doesn't matter, but it really tilts me when I don't remember to wait for the camera to finish warming up. Anyway, hello everybody. How's everyone doing today? It's your boy Gamer. Today we're talking about Pokemon Unite. We're talking about specifically the different characters in Pokemon Unite and how good I think each of them are. Pokemon Unite is obviously the new MOBA style a game released recently. I've been playing a bunch of it. I probably have I would guess about 100 games at this point, but I could be wildly off here. However, turn that down just a little bit. Hang on, let me adjust my audio levels. I can see that's too loud. Okay, that should be better. Okay, I've been playing much of this game. I'm having a lot of fun. I personally play Eldegoss, Absol, and Alolan Ninetales. Personally, obviously I'm not an expert. I'm currently in Veteran Class 4, I think. But I've been climbing pretty quickly. I was out of town for the whole first week that it was available, or most of the first week it was available. So, yeah, I feel like I'm a little underleveled compared to people who've been playing the whole time. But regardless, I've been playing a bunch. I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun. And I kind of wanted to share my thoughts on where I thought each character was and, just generally how good I thought each Pokemon was. So, without further ado, we'll just jump into it. I'll let you know that I haven't played all of these characters, so this is mostly my experience playing against a lot of these characters. So, it's just my opinion. Please don't, take it too seriously. I'm not a pro by any means, so I'm not awful either at this point. So, yeah. First of all, I'm not going to order them within tiers. I'll give thoughts as to how I think, the Pokemon rank stand up to each other. But yeah, first of all, we have Venusaur, which is kind of opposite of VGC, where Venusaur is quite good. In this game at the moment, it just feels really underpowered. I feel like the thing about Venusaur is it's a two-stage evolution, but I feel like by the time it's in its final form, it's not that threatening. Or I guess maybe a better way of saying it is that I feel like the scaling isn't as good as it needs to be for Venusaur in order to be actually a threat. I feel like whenever I play against this, I'm not too worried. It feels really underwhelming. Maybe people just haven't figured out which items to use or how to build it, or stuff like that, or maybe it needs a buff. I'm sure it won't remain at the bottom forever, but for right now, I find it pretty underwhelming. Charizard is another one of Game Freak's favorites, actually at the bottom, in my opinion. Now, I've heard that Charizard is S tier in the Korean meta, so this is definitely maybe one of those things where people just haven't figured out how to use the Pokemon yet. But again, this is a two-stage evolution Pokemon where I feel like the power buff that you receive for getting to Charizard just isn't that worth it. The Unite move is definitely it's really pretty. It's in my opinion, one of the most cinematic Unite moves, but I feel like it just doesn't do enough in my opinion. I'm sure that maybe it definitely has potential, but I feel like both of these mons are typically they're just not doing enough, I feel like they're always just below average. These are the only two for me that are in the D tier. The C tier, Talonflame, I think this thing is I think the thing that hurts Talonflame the most is the alternatives. We'll talk about some of the the alternatives to Talonflame, but even a Pokemon like Greninja, which isn't in the highest tier for me, I would put higher than this personally, just because, I feel it's not that Talonflame is inherently bad, it's that the other Pokemon that you could use that would fill a similar role are better. So Greninja, Machamp, Jinjar, Cinderace, if I was gonna use Pokemon that filled a similar even Absol, honestly, Zeraora as well. Although there's a lot of alternatives to Talonflame, and they're all at the moment they feel better. So I think Talonflame might need to be buffed. Wigglytuff, another C tier mon for me personally. I think Wigglytuff is super cool. This is one where I feel like I might be totally wrong. I think the thing about Wigglytuff is that it feels kind of a mixed supporting mon, but also has the potential to do damage if you use rollout, which is cool. I think Wigglytuff is super cool. I want to try this out for myself and experiment with it, but I just feel like it hasn't been that threatening when I play against it for the most part, although the CC is really nice, and I've seen some funny rollout clips where someone just bounces between walls. So it definitely is an interesting mon, and I would love to see some experimentation with this. I'm personally, once I have enough coins accumulated, this is one of the first ones I'm gonna buy, I think. So yeah. Garchomp, it's so bad early. Garchomp is so bad until it reaches Garchomp stage, and at that point, it's often too late. It's just really hard to keep up in the early game, and so for that reason, I think that it's probably not that it's not that good. Especially in a game like this, you really have to think about your opportunity cost. So for a Pokemon like Garchomp, the opportunity cost is quite high. Same thing as Talonflame here. For me personally, if you're gonna invest, if you're gonna be really weak early, you need to be really strong when you spike. And Garchomp is strong, but I feel it spikes too late, and the alternatives are Pokemon that are more useful early. You know what I mean? MrMeem, aka MrMeem, I am putting this in B minus. I think this thing might be S tier personally, even though this is my personal tier list. I haven't seen enough of it to convince that it's higher. But I think that this one, like, I would have before yesterday put this thing in probably C or D tier because I'm like, yeah, it's MrMeem, like, it sucks, right? But then my friend Marcus, we were playing together, and he had never played this thing in his life, like, ever. He didn't know, he still to this day doesn't know what the ult does. He doesn't know, like, what over half of his moves do. I think he was telling us, like, he doesn't know what 66% of his moves do, and he was smoking people. Like, he was actually, like, just demolishing people with Mr. Mime, and, like, I don't know. Like, the way that he used it, I was like, oh, this thing might actually be good. But I think the ability to create terrain is really interesting. Basically, the way that this tier list kind of works in my mind is, like, these tiers are, like, I wouldn't recommend using them. This is, like, usable, but, like, maybe underplayed. Or, like, usable, but, like, question mark tier, you know? This is, like, underplayed, but, like, maybe good tier, and then S and A tier are good, you know? Like, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm sitting here. So I like MrMeem a lot. After watching Marcus use it, like, yeah, I think that it's kind of threatening. Gardevoir, this one I think could be higher as well. The thing about Gardevoir is like, it does insane damage, but it's so frail. It's just like a total glass cannon, and like, I think that if people figure out how to play this, it could definitely be a higher tier. But for now, I haven't seen enough to really figure it out. Crustle, I was really excited for Crustle. I think there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. I like both the offensive build and the supporting build. However, I feel like the thing is that Crustle you're mostly using as a support mon. Unless you're using the Shell Smash X Scissor, you're mostly using it as a supporting mon. And like, I think like when you consider like, okay, yes, it can create barriers, but so can Snorlax, right? Like, and I'm just not convinced that the support is there in the same way that something like Snorlax or even Slowbro is with its CC. So yeah, that's why I'm putting this thing in B minus. I can definitely feel like this thing could move up though, eventually. Greninja, not too complicated here. Greninja, I don't think Greninja is bad. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, like, it moves higher up. I find it really difficult to play against, thanks to the blind effect that it has on some of its moves. And it has a lot of cool supportive, like, get out of jail free cards, like, there are moves like Substitute, and stuff like that. But I feel like this one is another mon that just hasn't been totally figured out. Yeah, I mean, okay, let's be honest, none of the mons have really been figured out yet, but yeah, I think that this was definitely one that could eventually move up on the tier list. Now we're moving into the B+ tier. B+ for me is Absol. This was the one that I played the most until recently. I've played this one the most. I think Absol's super good. And the thing about Absol is that it's really, really strong early game, and if you're smart with it, you can. It's jungler is really strong early game, and you can use it to gain a level. If you can use it to gain a level advantage, you can often have that carry you throughout the rest of the game. The weakness is that it's super frail and it doesn't scale as well into the late game. However, I still think it's a super solid one because early game is like. This game is very snowbally, or can be very snowbally, so if you're going to build a big lead early, Absol is one of the better mons to do it. Pikachu is also B+ in my opinion. This thing actually is really strong. It's really strong early, and it gets you to Unite move, I think, at level 7 or something insanely, or like it's really early for whatever reason. So I think this is another one that doesn't scale as well into the late game, but the slow effect is really nice. The CC is really nice. I think it's an overall super solid mon. So yeah, I think that there's like... I feel like Pikachu is like maybe a little underexplored right now. It's always weird these Pokemon that don't evolve, but I think overall they're really solid. Slowbro I find really difficult to play against. The ability to just grab somebody and like take them out of the air, like just stick them in the air and like basically like just KO whoever you want is really valuable, especially against frailer Pokemon. Like when I'm Absol, I hate playing against Slowbro because like they just grab me and I lose with Telekinesis. So yeah, I don't like playing against Slowbro, and so I think it's pretty solid. It's also got a lot of base HP. It's really bulky. It's a good supporting one. I don't think it's like the best by any means, but I do think it's very solid. Crammer is a mon that's really strong early and has one of the best ults in the game. I haven't played a lot with this thing. I think this is another mon that I think like people really have not figured out. Like out of all the mons in the game, I feel like Wigglytuff and Crammer are the two that stick out the most to me in terms of like just people still need to kind of get a grip for what they're using, what they think is like super strong and how best to use it. But yeah, I think with Crammer it's kind of similar to Absol and maybe even Pikachu, where it's really strong early and maybe struggles a little bit late. But I mean, once you get your ult, that is a really big power spike. So yeah, I think that Crammer is definitely interesting, and I'm putting it in B+ for that reason. Zeraora, we're starting the A tier with this. I haven't played a bunch of Zeraora, but it's fast and it's strong and it hits hard, and it also has like a lot of interesting like moves that like can stun you or CC you, and it has good mobility. So solid throughout the game. Does a lot of damage early, does a lot of damage late. Definitely not like an S tier mon in my opinion, but like this one maybe would belong in B+ for me as well. Like this is like probably A- for me, but still really solid. Machamp. So Machamp is one of those mons that like it's not that good until it gets. I mean, honestly, it's okay as Machoke because it has that. I don't know what it's called. I think it's submission, where it grabs you and like throws you backwards. I'm not totally sure what the move is. But yeah, that one is like pretty solid for CC and disrupting your opponent's positioning. But yeah, I think once it gets to Machamp for me, it's really strong. It has a really good ultimate. It does a lot of damage, and it's like relatively bulky. So Yeah, Machamp is definitely one of the ones that I'm not as comfortable with, so I don't want to speak too much about it, but what I've seen from it so far has been impressive, and it's difficult to play against, and I feel like that's the mark of a good Pokemon. Natal is one of the better ranged attackers in the game, maybe the best, like specifically ranged, like stay away and support. It also has a couple interesting builds. Dazzling is great for CC. Avalanche is great for like building a wall, which can be really useful if you learn how to position it, which I don't currently know how to do very well. You also have Aurora Veil, which is a really interesting support move that like decreases the damage your team takes and makes all your attacks boosted. So it's nice as like a supporting option as well. And then Blizzard I don't think is as good as Aurora Veil, but it allows like some pushback and like some other like additional control. So yeah, so I think that it's a really interesting mon. It has a really long range on its attacks, which is nice. Its passive ability kind of sucks, to be honest, because it basically like aggroes creeps and makes them attack you, which is a bit of a drag. But yeah, I think it's a really solid mon. A lot of my friends play this. I play this. I think that it's like it's like a nice balance between like offense and support, where like you can use Aurora Veil and Dazzling Gleam for supporting your team, but you also can like push in, do damage, and like still like manage to get some attacks off, which is, yeah. So basically everything about it is pretty nice. Lucario is a really solid, just like offensive, like doesn't need to jungle but can still do damage mon. I've been playing with Lucario. I also find it difficult to play against Lucario. I feel like if Lucario really gets going, it can like super pop off on people. So yeah, scary mon to play against. And then this is my like biggest main right now is Eldegoss. Just a solid support mon. Like heals up the team, is relatively, it's not like crazy bulky like Lax or anything, but it does have a lot of natural bulk, and so and the ability to heal and the ability to heal your teammates is pretty valuable, and it has a really good ult. Like the ability to potentially heal multiple of your teammates, and with Buddy Barrier, like grant them a shield to stay alive, though that's not unique to Eldegoss, of course. But yeah, the ability to heal up your teammates and gain invincibility and gain CC, or I don't think it's actually CC, I think it's just push, but even still, like this is a really, really, really valuable ult, especially in big team fights like against Zapdos in the end of the game. So I like Eldegoss a lot. I think it's really solid. I think my win rate is like 10 out of 11 games I've won in the row, or like of the last 11 games that I played Eldegoss, I think I've won 10 of them or something crazy. So I've really been enjoying this mod. And that brings us to the S tier. So I'm gonna put Cinderace in S tier. I feel like this mod is really, really good right now. It's probably this or Gengar is like, or Jinjar is like one of the best junglers in the game. It's like it gets reboot relatively early. You can have it by like the time you come out of the jungle, and then Cinderace just has a lot of really, really, really solid support, like not support, like offensive options, but also like decent movement. It's pretty big as well. So like it's pretty powerful as well. So it's basically like a solid offensive mon where like it's fast, it's faint, I believe increases the speed of its auto attack. So I've seen this thing just totally kite like enemies and just wear them down over time. It's overall a really solid mon, and yeah, one of the best in the game in my opinion. Genjar's next. Jinjar is in my opinion like the best offensive mon in the game, although like Cinderace gives it a run for its money. This thing is so frustrating to play against. Like basically the way that it works is if the opponent is affected by a status condition, then Hex has like no cooldown, so they can just basically spam Hex. And Sludge Bomb inflicts your opponent with poison. So by the time you hit Jinjar, like this thing is just so oppressive to play against. It is relatively frail, so like having a good defensive support mon can be nice, but I've like seen this thing 1v2 or even 1v3 so many times, because even if only one Pokemon is affected by the Sludge Bomb poison, it can still, if it's spamming Hex, then it will still hit multiple Pokemon in the area. So yeah, this thing is really, really, really terrifying. And like, if there's one mon that I think is going to get nerfed, it's going to be Jinjar, because it's so powerful in my opinion. And then last but not least is Snorlax. This thing is such good team support. Block is kind of stupid. Like, if your whole team is focused on an objective, whether it be Dreadnought or Rotom or Zapdos, having Snorlax go in and block out the other team and just push them away from you while reducing your damage is super good. The CC from Heavy Slam is also really nice. And I've even seen some people running Yawn. So, yeah, it's probably the single, I mean, in my opinion, it's the best support mon in the game, right? It's definitely different than something like Eldegoss or Slowbro or, Wigglytuff or anything like that, but in my opinion, it's the strongest. So, and these mons aren't released at the time that I'm filming this video, so I don't have anything to say about them, but I think some of them, at least, are going to be healers. I think maybe Blissey and maybe Clefable are going to be healers, so I think that'd be cool, because, yeah, having Eldegoss as the only healer is, like, not as great in my opinion. So yeah, anyway, that's my Pokemon Unite tier list. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you agree with anything or disagree with anything in the comments. I think I've made it clear, but like the game is still relatively new, so like we don't know for sure how things are going to shake out, and like, you know, if there's going to be patches or if there's going to be buffs or nerfs or whatever, but like yeah, I think right now this is kind of how I feel generally about the mons in the game. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll probably have some Unite content on the channel. I don't know if people are that interested in watching it from me, but I'll probably put some on the channel. So yeah, if you like this video, please show some support, leave a like, leave a comment, and yeah, please make sure to check out my other Unite videos. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.